Thank you. I'm going to be honest with you. My heart's probably pumping at 120 beats per minute right now.
That's a good thing.
It is. And I got to say, I'm really honored to be actually standing in front of you.
We feel the same way.
Thank you. I've actually been only learning about Abraham for about the past 2 months now. And from what I've been learning so far, it's extremely interesting, and I find I can apply it to my everyday life. Which leads me to my question. I've been kind of an avid drug user for the past 5 years, mostly hallucinogenics, because I don't really feel a need to do any weird body drugs. They don't interest me whatsoever. Which leads me into my question. I've tried to find enlightenment from doing certain chemical drugs, and they've led me to new ideas and new experiences, and I find I can actually get something out of the experiences that I can actually, get positive ideas from. And I was just wondering, would that be a malalignment, or is there actually a reason why I'd be getting something from it?
Can you give us an example of an idea that came?
Okay. The first time I did LSD, it was in the woods. And ever since I've had that experience, I've never wanted to, leave the woods.
Well, we're glad you came out for us. Well, here's the most significant thing to understand about that. First of all, do you accept, at least to some degree, this business that we're offering you here about everything being vibrational?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, as physical beings, you've all become very adept at translating vibration through your physical senses in order to identify and observe the reality that you call real life experience.
Mm-hmm.
What you see is an interpretation of vibration. What you hear is an interpretation of vibration. So what we've noticed is that humans have become so good at using their physical senses to interpret vibration,
mm-hmm.
that in a sense they have locked themselves in to a reality that is limited.
Mm-hmm.
So when you reach for a substance
mm-hmm.
that changes the way your physical senses interpret reality, you see reality differently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So the advantage to that is that it makes you more fluid and flexible in
mm-hmm.
your understanding of the bigness of the universe.
Mm-hmm. But so many people don't understand that. They think, you acid head or, mushroom head, blah, blah, blah. Drugs are bad. You can't learn anything from drugs, but...
Well, they make fun of us too.
Yeah.
And if any of us are trying to contour our life
mm-hmm.
in order to please the diverse beliefs of people, we'll
mm-hmm.
be sort of crazy out of our minds, won't we? And so we want you to not care what they say.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that you've really figured out how to allow your alignment
mm-hmm.
when you're able to allow your alignment even when someone is not allowing you. We are not and have not been proponents of utilizing substances
mm-hmm.
in order to close this gap. And in essence, that's what you're talking about. In other words, everything that keeps anyone from being all that they have been is a habit of thought or a belief or a vibrational patterning that holds them in resistance to what they have become.
Mm-hmm.
So it's absolutely possible that through the utilization of some stimulant or some depressant that you could alter your perception, and in altering your perception you would lower some resistance temporarily, and in lowering that vibrational resistance then you could close that gap and have a more vivid awareness. But the trouble with that is that in the substance and its sort of soothing or muting your vivid awareness, even though you've closed the gap, you're also not able to take that in the fullest sense. So we think it is a positive idea in the sense that it helps a lot of people realize that there's something a lot more going on vibrationally than just the world of reality. And we also applaud your awareness that there are a lot of people who are so stuck in reality that they aren't letting themselves expand in the way that they would. But we do not think that drugs are the answer. We think that they can be a catalyst to help you to understand that you are so much more, but we promise you, you do not need the stimulant or the depressant in order to release resistance, but it is the releasing of resistance that you've experienced that is giving you that.
Which kind of leads me to my second question. Do you think that a lot of these chemicals are illegal because they allow people to think outside the box, per se?
We don't think anyone is that smart. We do not think that you are being deliberately held back. It is all about economics. But if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not worry about that. In other words, if drugs were legalized, there would be so much less resistance around so many things. But there are a lot of people that would use it as a reason to be more fearful, and so there would be more resistance around other things. And we've noticed, and we know that you have too, that the laws that are in place usually only keep people in line who had no real inclination to do it anyway. And so there are so many laws and rules and regulations, and every one of them made by those who are outside the vortex when they make them. Every one of them. Every one of them trying to protect. And so in the making of them and in the forcing of them, or even in the defying of them, or in the rebellion of them, in that pushing against, is still an outside the vortex experience. Those who break the laws are not necessarily outside the vortex unless they're rebelling against the laws themselves, you see.